Everybody know what to do. Puppy, please do what to do.
Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell.
It's an old Paul McCartney song, so everybody recognizes it.
Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door. And let me in.
It says my message. Let the people in.
Someone knocking at the door. Somebody ringing the bell. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door. I let him in. Ooh, yeah. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell. Do me a favor, open the door.
You can't, I'm being interviewed. You can't come here, I'm being interviewed. I don't know what time we're gonna be done.
Love was in your life?
My mother, although she's not present with us today, I think she lives on in memory, and obviously I feel like in a spiritual presence. I feel that she was a restaurateur. She was basically what you would call the host with the most. And from as I was growing up, I was always around some of our friends who had known her during the time that I hadn't gotten to know her. And I think the style of, always being kind, being respectful, going a little extra, not being extra nice to people goes a long way. I think that's a very lovable aspect or character, something you can love from anyone, right? If someone's nice to you, you're gonna be nice back. There's a lot of it goes a long way.
Your position, not having your mom in the physical, do you feel like that kind of impeded your, I wouldn't say growth, but maturation, development as a young man to kind of
growing up as a child?
Yeah,
it definitely affected me. I had a stepmother who wasn't a mother to us. She was just there's a woman in my life. So, I think that I kind of wish, but everyone could wish, right? If you can go back in time, definitely had affected my childhood. Definitely sort of the behaviors that came out of, right, 8 or 9 years old to like my late teens all the way until my 20s, like early 20s. So I could definitely see that because of not having her around, it did affect my upbringing.
So-called house music was first made in the creators' houses, but it was also performed at clubs called the Warehouse and Powerhouse. However it got its name, it's one of the hottest things going, and as Jay Levine reports, it may only be a matter of time before house musicians become heroes in their own homes.
All right, so the importance of, since, Father's Day, what do you say after speaking on, your relationship, with your stepmom? Talk about the importance of the father-son relationship and their development.
Super important. I think, I'm not a father myself, but I definitely think my father played a monumental role in my life, because without him investing as much time as he had into me, I wouldn't be where I am today. I definitely would not be. I think my life could have went 1 or 2 or 3 ways, which is sad to say, but it's a truth that happens to a lot of young kids, either dead or in jail, or I don't know, somewhere in the streets. And my dad definitely gave me a lot of attention, which I didn't appreciate at the time, but growing up as an adult, you kind of look back and do a little bit of an inventory of yourself and figure out, well, could he have done it better? Like, looking into someone else's eyes and saying, trying to be them. That's kind of the catch. So my dad, I think he did his best. And I wasn't an easy kid to deal with. For sure, I
Who
wasn't.
is?
Right. But I think the most important part for a father, I think, is giving your kid the ear he needs, because I think a lot of fathers don't listen as much. They might listen and they might hear what the kid has to say, but do they actually do they form a plan? Like if it's trouble at school, hey, I'm having this kind of trouble. Oh, okay, well, you'll deal with it later. You heard me, but did you? You know, like there could be more. There could be more there, and I think a lot of parents don't actually figure out what's really going on with their children until.
And they went crazy, like bananas. This guy was on his back, kicking his legs up in the air. People were just going nuts.
And it just like an explosion. Like the effect of this record when Ron played it was crazy.
When acid tracks began to permeate so many of the club tracks, it was really great. I mean, I thought oh, it's evolved.
And then those feelings turned into poems and lyrics and stuff. So I'm just curious to know how was it coming up for you, feeling the way you did as far as adults not understanding?
Because I felt like every conversation I had with either faculty member, staff, or parents, or both, or all together, it wasn't going anywhere, or they weren't listening to what I was actually saying. I felt it was very one-sided, and I felt like I wasn't being heard, so I acted out instead. I definitely had music in my life growing up, and that was kind of my, I guess, escapism, or escape. I listen to music and I just be in my own world, ignore everyone. So.
Was there anyone that you went to that you felt comfortable with
In middle school?
Yeah, just in general, during that time, that you felt comfortable talking to?
Not in middle school. It became later in life that I met some people that changed my life, and I've also read some books that changed my life.
Speak to that. What were those books?
I've read 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Read that as well.
I also read a really, really great story, which is David Goggins' story, his life story. And I was also struggling with weight loss. I mean, with being overweight because I wasn't heard. I would eat a lot and play video games, and I ended up, my highest when I was 19, I was 340 pounds, 5'10". Yeah.
White people like house music?
I did Move Your Body. The first time I brought it to the music box, Ron Hardy played it 6 times in a row. Sleazy, my friend, he gave Frankie Knuckles a copy of it. So Frankie started playing it. It really got big. Frankie Knuckles' best friend was Larry Levan at the Paradise Garage in New York. Larry Levan started playing it. Next thing I know, this guy from the UK starts calling me up. His name was Jazzy M. He was in London and he played on this pirate radio station called LWR. I'm thinking what the fuck? What's going on here?
We went to the Berry Island Festival in Wales, and I saw 10,000 kids camping out and listening to music, and that's when it really said, this is a global thing.
If you can come back here, I think Bud started it, and for him, I think in a month, that's when they had their schedule. He's like, if you can come back here, the recruiter said to David, if you can come back here in a month and lose 20 pounds, I'll accept you. And so he did. He worked with his recruiter, and anyway, it's a life story. It's a life-changing book, and I recommend it to anyone.
Was there ever a time that love hurt you emotionally, physically, or mentally?
I've had a girlfriend. Yeah, have you had a girlfriend?
Of course. Describe a time when you felt most love?
Most love.
When was it, and what was occurring when you experienced it?
Oh man, this is gonna sound. It's the most magical special. It's One Oak. This is something I've never seen before. This is actually right before the pandemic. I think this is January 20 or 20. No, either January 20th or January 26th, 2020. I played at One Oak, and this crowd was so connected with the music I was playing with. I never felt more loved. People were screaming my name. It was
They started playing house music at this Michigan Avenue Hotel and Health Club last summer, and they've been packing them in ever since. It's the first time house has escaped the South Side dance clubs or North Side juice bars for a more upscale audience, though it's still a long way from sweeping the city.
I don't know. It felt like a very one kind of connectivity. Like everyone was there, everyone was feeling that shared moment was just beautiful. I've never seen anything like it, and I don't think I'm sure I'll experience it again. But till then, it gives me goosebumps thinking of it because it was just you had to be there to kind of understand. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that because being together. Like if you win a basketball game together, there's that same feeling.
Definitely.
It's that camaraderie.
Definitely.
That team.
So on the flip side of that, describe a time when you showed love, but it wasn't received.
My ex. My ex.
Okay. You don't have to, okay.
Yeah, no.
If you want. So how do you know when the receiver feels it from you? So think of, you said your music, right? So how do you know? Like, how do you know when, the people are really feeling this shit? Like, when you know what to, you know what I'm saying?
I think when I see couples come up in front and they're dancing and they're like having a good time, I know if it's like a guy and a girl. So everyone says, "Oh, if the girls are there, it's a great time." I'm like, no, if you see a man and a woman enjoying themselves dancing, then everyone else should be doing that. They just don't have they're not in a couple. They're not coupled. They don't have a girl. They're probably single. So when I see a couple enjoying themselves, I know that everyone else is really having a good time because it's making people move. Grab a girl.
Comes to a peak and these bright lights go on and then everything goes off and all I hear is this sound, this perfect sound. I knew in my soul, in my heart, in all my body that music was moving me to my core, and I knew it was gonna move a lot of people.
How the fuck did you get to do this shit, DJing? How were you introduced to that?
I was introduced to it when I was younger, when I was probably about 11 or 12. First of all, I was a professional video gamer as a kid.
They actually pay you?
Yes!
This is something I want to do. And he's like, work a little bit, and I'll purchase it for you. So I did, and I played. I started DJing, probably mixing when I was like I said, 12. Probably for about a year, and then I stopped that when I stopped for all the way until I was 26. Only because video gaming taken over my life.
They actually pay you?
Yes!
Really good, and I'd actually been making money professionally as a teenager. To the point where I'd actually had to tour. I competed in 2003, 2004, Meadowlands Expo Center, which is amazing. So to this day, I still can't remember. It's just as big as it's bigger now because it wasn't esports. It's just Major League Gaming.
Pro gamers don't just sit around all day munching on Doribos and drinking Mountain Dew. They train like professional athletes and dedicate nearly every second of their lives to perfecting their craft. In fact, you'd be surprised at how similar the life of a pro athlete is to the life of a pro gamer. So let's talk.
But I've always had a love for music, and it's always been a part of my life. And then when I finally figured out that, found the right time, I was like, you know what, let me go back to school. And I ended up going to a place called Foxgrove, which is on 26th Street, and in New York City. And I went there, and the course was about a week. And after the first day, the owner of the studio, where you learn a little bit, a tutorial of basic mixing, was like, "You're too good. You need to do this professionally." finished my course and I ended up like buying my own turntables and just mixing around. And I'd always had friends in the nightlife industry, and when I told them I was doing this, they kind of didn't believe me at first, and then like a year later, I'd find a bookings manager who was like, "I'll book you," and I was like, "Okay," and it's just been a thing ever since. It's been love. I love what I do. It's definitely an important part of my love factor. It's probably the only thing that I do every day.
The music is just a reflection of the culture. It's a microcosm of what's actually happening out in the world. People started to ask for their voices to be heard. The women's movement, the gay movement, Black Power movement, all these things started to cross-pollinate each other, and we became comrades.
Why do you love it so much?
I think it's empowering. I also produce, so I love like the other people can hear, like the joy and the excitement that it could bring to you, it brings to me, you know, so it's definitely going to bring to somebody else. You know, and I love music in general because it touches on all ranges of emotions, sadness, happiness. You know, you could be sad listening to some sad vocals, or you know, jazz. I mean, it puts you in kind of a trance, and you know, you have goosebumps when someone's just you know, it's a happy place in my life.
Has there been a moment in this, you know, trek of, you know, being a DJ where you felt like you've arrived, or do you feel like you're just still scratching the surface?
I'm nowhere near done. I don't even feel like that. I played at One Oak and that was nice. I mean, it's great, but not until I played Tomorrowland. Well, I think Tomorrowland is the biggest festival, I think, in the entire world.
You arrive in the rising sun.
South Africa.
We are from Australia.
We're from Mexico.
We're from the United States.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they have, over their weekend, they have 500,000 visitors. So it's based in Belgium, and not until I play that main stage will I feel like until I got there.
Do you feel like you're close?
I don't know what close. Do I think I'm ready to play at that stage? Yes, but I'd be super nervous. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, when you have like 300,000 people in front of you,
mm-hmm.
You know, I would like to think so. Anything that's unconditional, like that's lasting. That's like that has no boundaries. I think love is more like it's not a hey, do you love me kind of thing. It's, you just know it's there. It's like kind of like that consciousness. I think that's what I kind of think of as love, is just being there, especially if it's real love, it's genuine. Obviously it means being caring and kind, but that just comes with true love. I mean, the definition to what someone else's definition to what is love is going to be completely different from mine. But I definitely believe that it's a universal thing that just should be there if it's with somebody. Like if I share something with you and it's like a friend, or with a friend,
mm-hmm.
like you don't have to ask me, or you don't have to say, I love you. I don't have to say, you know, hey, do you love me? It's just there. And what it consists of is, you know, being there for someone. I think that's the most important, like being there, giving time, giving effort, showing that other person you care are the most important parts of being loved, or feeling loved. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Can't explain it. So what you'll do is,
you on camera?
Yeah, it's live, because you will. Step one, you'll think of, okay, you'll say, step one is, that's a wrap. What is love?
That's a wrap.
And then you'll say love is, and then you'll say love is, I don't know, love is NASA, love is DJing, love is house music. You say whatever love is.
Took house music. Love is house music. I already know because it's my family's place. So like, I know how much shit goes on. Grab them.
another mountain.
Yeah.
There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet.
Please, I know what to do. Puppy, please, know what to do.